good day for me is when I learn something new. I have a lot of good days, but as you can imagine, today is shaping up to be a fabulous day. My brain's focus lately has been mindfulness. Mindfulness isn't just something that's good for you. It may very well be the key to our becoming a mindful society that can transform problems into opportunities, despair into hope, hate into love. Mindfulness is all about the now, this moment, and focusing on our thoughts rather than cruising along on autopilot. But it's also caused me to review some old lessons from school, those compare and contrast essays. What were they drilling us about? Something that is wired in our brains. We're made to look at differences and similarities. Now, I know a bit about compare and contrast because I have an identical twin. She's out there in the audience. Growing up, we thought all the commotion about comparing and contrasting us was sometimes amusing, sometimes annoying. What do you think? Am I on the left or the right there? I honestly don't know. We knew we were both the same and unique. That lovely idea is true for more than just twins. Maybe that was my first mindfulness lesson. There were some who were thrown by the challenge, though, and loved to slap a nice, handy label on us. Labels are an easy way to compare and contrast, but they come with a downside. They reduce complex circumstances, ideas, people, cultures to a knee-jerk response. This is good, that is bad. Labels often also come with a judgment or bias attached. That's my biggest challenge with mindfulness, the non-judgmental part, to take that moment to recognize the judgment and decide if it really needs to be there. We are all a lot alike, even if we're not a complete DNA match, even if we come from opposite sides of the earth or the aisle. And just like we can change our thoughts, we all can change. Mindfulness helps restore our compare and contrast skills. When we notice how one thought flows to the next, we can choose whether to continue or change the direction of our thoughts. There lies opportunity. Sometimes you need to start by stopping. Right now, pay attention to the miracle of your breath. It's something we tend to take for granted unless we're speaking in a big auditorium. Go ahead, give it a try. I've got a couple seconds to spare. Take a deep breath. Now observe your thoughts with curiosity and without judgment, and then decide how to proceed. When we exchange the carbon dioxide we produce for nature's oxygen, we're developing bonds with one another and with the entire planet. Over time, that connection should deepen, not be severed by mere words. There are many labels associated with all of us. Some we gladly accept, some we begrudgingly bear. Some haunt us, some limit us, some harm us. When we use labels as our main source of comparison, rather than going through the steps of even a mediocre compare and contrast essay, we miss those opportunities to appreciate those bonds, to help forge those bonds. Mindfulness helps us pause and recognize those judgments and decide whether we really want to accept them, to be on the lookout for labels, both mine and those of others, and decide whether they really need to be there. When I peel back all my labels, I'm left with the label of me. What if everyone peeled off all their labels? If they peeled them off things, places, activities, religions, would we find that we're all both the same and unique? We were taught those compare and contrast skills for a reason. What your teacher may not have mentioned is, the assignment never ends. Just looking for similarities or just differences is just plain dangerous. So what can you do? Use your compare and contrast skills to create that mindful space that will help you recognize labels that limit. Cultivate compassionate curiosity to decide what's important. You all know learning doesn't end when you step out of the classroom, or you wouldn't be here tonight. So, are you keeping up with your homework? The assignment is to compare and contrast. Thank you.